Here's our journey today. We're leaving Hotel Maritime in Fulda. There's the big domo behind you. And we're going to drive 26 kilometers to OP Alpha, the former U.S. observation post during the Cold War. All right. And another thing, we use Waze over here. Waze is great because it also tells you the speed cameras, which are all over Europe. All right. Okay, so here we are. We're going towards observation post Alpha, where the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment was during the Cold War. And so we're going towards Rasdorf. You see that town right there, Rasdorf, Rasdorf. And then this is basically what was known as the Fulda Gap, where we thought that the Soviet Union would invade West Germany or whatever through the Fulda Gap. It was one of the potential places. So we had observation posts along the border. So we're going to the old border between East and West Germany. All right, but we got about 6.7 kilometers, but it's a nice drive. So we'll get back to you.
In 400 meters, turn right. In 200 meters, turn right.
Got it. There's the sign.
Turn right.
Alpha. All right, so here we are at OP Alpha, Observation Post Alpha, which is the border between East and West Germany back during the Cold War. And here's one of the observation towers. And then over there, you can see that would have been an East German GDR. And then we'll go up this thing, and that's the Fulda Gap. So we'll go check it out. Here's a little bit on the observation tower. So this was built in 1985. Successor to a wooden tower from 1968. All right. So here we are up on top of the observation post. So that's the fence line between former East and West Germany. That's the GDR, or East German tower. You have the fence. I think the fence is a replica, but that portion behind it is from back in the day, that cement part behind the fence. That's original. But this is pretty cool. So this is the Fulda Gap, where we thought the Russians and the Warsaw Pact would come through this way.
They were built to keep the East Germans in. My name is Sergeant Jim Payne. Now
It's funny, we get talked to over here. And then this behind us is just the camp, so we're gonna go check it out. But you got barracks and stuff like that. So I think I got to do some research, but I think the unit was in 11th Armored Cav was in Fulda itself, and then you came out here for however long. Look at Old Glory right there. So this was the old dining facility, which is now a snack bar. There was a basketball court behind there. And then there's the OP. And then when you come over here, see this red line? And that line straight across the grass was where no tanks could come from back here. Like no tanks could come from back here. They could not cross this line. If a tank crossed this line towards the border, then it constituted a border violation. So you can only have jeeps or small vehicles. So we'll go back here and check out the barracks. The old half track. And we'll go check out some tanks. So here's a little map showing here's where we are. Let's see, there's OPO, OP Alpha where we're at now. There's Fulda. That was the headquarters for the 14th Cavalry, 14th Armored Cavalry Regiment. And then Fulda is where I think most people lived. And then some people loved their time here at Fulda, Germany, 1958-61. He was Border Patrol from Indiana. A photo of Elvis doing some American Forces Network broadcast, 1960. AFN Frankfurt. This is just inside of one of the old barracks rooms, just showing German life. So this map here shows you from 51 to 72, the 14th Armored Cav Regiment. We call it ACR. So you had headquarters Fulda with 1st Battalion. And down here was Daily Barracks 2nd Battalion. And then there's OP Alpha. And then Bad Hirschfeld was McFeeder's Barracks 3rd Battalion. And that's the original tower at Alpha, the wooden tower, before they built what we were on outside. And that's when they were the United States Constabulary from 1946 to 52. So it started out with this. I don't understand the jump boots. I gotta ask somebody why they wear jump boots. Maybe cavalry soldiers wore jump boots, but that's what they look like from 46 to 52. And then you got 51 to 72 is 14th Armored Cavalry Regiment, ACR. At some point it turns into 11th ACR. And then you got some more uniforms. So that's pretty cool, showing you what they carried back then in the kit. So this kind of shows a model of the orange is the Soviet plan. This was their plan. They could have deployed 18 to 20 divisions in less than a day. It's crazy. But anyway, this was their plan. And then the blue is American and German. So like this is American 5th Corps, 3rd Corps German Bundeswehr, and then Fulda is right there in the center. And so Fulda was like where we are. That's where the whole Russian horde wanted to come through and then just keep pushing into Germany, into West Germany. That's pretty cool. And now we have these guys. And here's a typical soldier's quarters in here in the bunk bed. I remember doing this back in the 80s. Young paratrooper in ASAC, we had to have layouts with all your kit. Had the same wall archer forever. All right, so here's the M60 tank. It's like our main battle tank back in, I want to say the 60s, 70s. I think this was it until we got the M1 in the 80s, but, and then just some other vehicles. I used to drive that one right there, deuce and a half. And then we got U.S. helicopter, German, and US. I think they call that the Cut V, Chevy Blazer. And then we got 1st Cavalry, 2nd Battalion, 1st Airborne, 2nd 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 Air So this would have been like the motor pool probably back in the day. And your fuel point over here where the Jeep is. So anyway, that's it. This is just an outpost. So this is not like where they lived permanently. This is just where you came. Whatever the duty was. I don't know how long they were here for. A week at a time or 2 weeks at a time or something. A month at a time maybe. And then you would rotate with another platoon. But that's your little camp at OP Alpha. Hey, so if you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so I can get subscribers up, and then we'll keep making videos of our travels here in Germany. Sometimes you'll see history stuff. Sometimes you'll see architecture.